News. Have you seen the fire that's caught the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the NGX, recently? We're focusing particularly on FBNH. This is FBN Holdings PLC stock. Look at this. Closing price yesterday, 22 naira 30 kobo. The stock year to date is up 80% from about 11 naira 22 to start the year to where it is right now. Of course, there's a whole lot going on. Banking stocks have been on fire. The NGX has been on fire, and so of course, FBNH has been a lot of attention being paid to the banking sector, but particularly this stock, of course, with the news that Ecobank of Nigeria, which of course is a subsidiary of ETI, have written a letter. Their lawyers, that is, in a letter to through its legal counsel to FBNH, saying that Otudeko, who is of course the former chair, should return, or they should reject the 4.7 million shares that he purchased last week, or at least a company that was affiliated to him. Arise business analyst Chika Umbonu is with us in Abuja to discuss further. Chika, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Chika, what do you make of this entire furor that has erupted around these shares?
Well, Lotus, thank you for having me. I mean, we normally say the Nigerian corporate finance system, the financial markets are very boring, just the routine. So when we see transactions like this, we normally should get excited, with the Otudeko group, just, coming there, overtaking and just trying to buy up to them and take charge. We should actually be excited. But the truth is that the system has received this with some trepidation. And with the regulators, with the banking system, some shareholders. And so one will ask, why? Why is this happening? You don't need to look too far. If I just walk with our viewers through some of the things that, some of the recent past events in the bank. The years preceding 2015 in First Bank were what I describe as the low-cost years, very riotous years in the corporate governance framework or life of First Bank. You had NPLs, non-performing loans, up to 45%, which meant that for every 100 naira loan they booked, they lost about 45% of it. There were issues of self-lending, very, very poor risk management framework. And not surprising that in 2016, a new Central Bank of Nigeria intervened, without letting the system know. In other banks, Central Bank normally would walk into the front door, dismiss the management, dismiss the board, but they got in there gently because of the fact that First Bank is a very systematically important bank. And so since 2016, the hand of the Central Bank of Nigeria has been on First Bank, trying to make sure that the bank, which started on the brink of collapse in 2015, 2016 early, it didn't happen. And not surprising, therefore, that over the years, up to 2022, the NPL I mentioned to you, that was about 45% in 2015, has now become as low as 5.6. Figures are in the roof. And so the bank has actually been turned around. So the issue is that the low-cost years of the bank were coincided with when this group was in charge of the bank. And that's why there's trepidation among the shareholders and current investors in the bank. Now, so if I push it a little more, just to help our viewers, the role of central bank in all this. See, the central bank is supposed to protect the integrity of the banking system, make sure that financial stability in the banking system. Banking is not like any other business where if you just have money, you just open, central bank, before you can own 5% or more of the bank, that's a test called a fit and proper test. So for the group that has acquired this 13% of the bank, I'm sure Central Bank is going to also try to resolve this issue. Now I'm focusing on the things that will happen along the line. The other issue I mentioned during your rundown is Ecobank. Central Bank also role is to make sure that loans, when collected by customers, are paid back. And so in resolving this issue, this entanglement, I'm sure Central Bank will make sure that the loan is paid back. Now, the other thing I want to put out there is, if Central Bank finds the group fit and proper, remember I mentioned, to own these shares, and because Central Bank has to worry about where the money come from to buy these shares, especially when they're not paid by their loans, the group must profit from the capitalist successes. They must have their proportionate share in the board of the FBN holdings. That is their right. That is their right. But why they scramble, for our viewers again, why they scramble for board seats? Why they scramble for board seats in Nigeria, especially in the banks, and then especially aligning to the history of First Bank. The board of a bank is responsible for, setting the strategic direction of the bank and supervising management, where the management is in charge of running the bank day to day. And if the corporate governance is working the bank, the board should not interfere in the day-to-day running of the bank. And therefore, the board of a bank must not interfere in the lending credit, who to lend money to. And so the credit processes instead in the bank must, allow to play. So the issue is, the group has bought these shares. If they're found fit and proper, they will profit from that, and they'll get proportional shares in the board. Existing shareholders must allow that to happen. But the important thing is that Central Bank must not allow the low-cost years of First Bank to happen again. The times when First Bank was almost collapsing, and that Central Bank has to intervene. And in this play, as you mentioned, one group is very happy. Remember the shares of First Bank were almost in dormancy when Mr. Femi Otudeko came in. I think it was about 6 naira, and look at where it is now at 20 naira within less than 1 year. And so, if you bought shares of First Bank, you'll be smiling to the bank now. So a group is profiting from that, which are the shareholders. And then the other thing that we must make sure that happens is that, as I said, don't go back to local years where the deposit funds were not safe. So we must also, whatever we do, the board must ensure that the deposit funds are also safe and let the financial system take care of itself. So the regulators, Central Bank, Nigerian Stock Exchange, SEC, all must come together to make sure that the proper screenings are done. Ecobank loans are paid to protect the integrity of the financial system, and then they can profit from their transaction.
Chika, how do you think this is going to play? I know this is an unfolding situation, and I guess there's more to come. But you started out saying that people, this has brought some excitement, as if there hasn't already been enough excitement to the financial sector. Do you think this will be sorted out in the mid to short term?
Yeah, it should be sorted out for the interest of the bank, because we shouldn't, the bank has been turned around. Remember, if you look at the parameters from 2015, when NPL was at 45%, it's come down to 5.6. Profits were at 10 billion levels. It's now about almost 180 billion. Cost of risks, liquidity, everything has come back to normal. And First Bank is a very systematically important bank. So I do not believe that Central Bank of Nigeria will sit by and watch things get out of hand. And the shareholders should not be allowed to box, and so that the fight will spill out into the marketplace and affect the confidence of customers in the bank. I believe that Central Bank of Nigeria will, in the short term, even in the short term, I'm sure that things are happening now behind the scene to make sure that everybody is calmed down and the financial system stability is maintained. Actually,
sorry, Chika, this actually should be the SEC, though, the Securities and Exchange Commission, right? CBN is really on the side of the directors appointed to the board, yeah.
Yeah, because SEC of course is a major thing, but I'm talking about the issue. At the end of the day, Central Bank, you can't, if you just appoint you or me on the board of a bank, it's not automatic. Central Bank has to approve that. And I'm saying, if you have that quantum of investment in the bank, 30% shareholding, it must have representation on the board. And Central Bank has a role to play in that.
Fantastic.
To ensure that they have fit and proper persons running the bank.
All right, all right. And Chika, you are a fit and proper analyst to take us through all these issues as they unfold. So we thank you for joining us from our Abuja studios. Arise business analyst Chika Mbonu, taking us through breaking down the issues as he always does.